Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel, and I am back with Daughter of a Scoundrel. This should be the last part of the prologue, and we're going to see just how much more we can get into the whole story. And I'm very excited because I really, really love this story, and I'm excited to see how it all goes from here. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Luca and Alessio have just left because apparently they have things to do, and they left Danielle to go find her way to the kitchen. So that's what we're going to do now. And hopefully eat some good dinner. Oh, dinner came and passed smoothly, and I only ate with the others for a whopping 10 minutes. Oh, that's so short. That is, before they all decided that they have something else they needed to do, which ended up with me alone and bored. Again. I mean, honestly, I'd be so bored with these men. I guess they have jobs. They do have jobs. I say that like they don't have jobs. But she truly has, really nothing to do. Not so much. This has got to be the most boring place possible. No one tells me anything either. I'm going to have to try harder. Well, at least my stomach's full, and I don't have a crazy murderer after me, though. Very optimistic. We love it, Danielle. Right now, that is. I dragged my feet up the steps, trying to think of anything to do before bed. I could play phone games, but I didn't feel like even looking at my phone, lest I'd be forced to think of Grandpa and read his messages. I wasn't intending to be the first one to give in. If only I'd had my journal. I didn't think to take it. I noticed Antonio walking with Renzo down the hall, engrossed in their conversation. Maybe I could ask them for something to do. Antonio did say to talk to him if I needed anything. He did. Shit, they're walking away. Hey, Antonio, Ren, wait up. The two men halted their steps and turned to face me. They patiently waited for me to catch up as I jogged over. I wasn't ready to be Antonio today. What can we do for you, miss? Is there something wrong? No, I actually wanted to ask you a favor. They both exchanged a look, curious as to what I would ask for. Shoot. Well, I've been feeling kind of bored, and no one is ever around. I have nothing to do. I wanted to know if maybe you guys had a notebook and a pencil I could borrow. I've really liked journaling and... Absolutely not. Antonio, why shut the girl down? Look, do you see how happy she was 5 seconds ago? Ooh, Antonio's not painting the beautifulest picture right now. Antonio's gaze turned icy and serious, his tone harsh, giving me whiplash from his sudden mood change. It began to feel like I would never get on his good side, and his constant stick up the ass only served to piss me off more. I don't want to give too many details, but I'm laughing. Okay. I never asked to be stuck here, bored out of my mind, without a single soul to talk to. What harm would a notebook do? He squared his shoulders and towered over me, his glare beyond piercing. Oh God, Antonio. At least hear her out, my gosh. Would you prefer to be dead or worse? Because those are your options. Either be upset and grin and bear it, or go live it up doing whatever you want and inevitably be found and unable to protect yourself. How dare you? You're an ass just because I politely asked you for a notebook? It's just some fucking paper. These two are so funny to me. Their interaction. Also, it's hard for me to be mad. I don't know how, I honestly think Antonio's a bit more scarier than how I'm kind of portraying. Probably lots. And, probably Danielle also. But the two of them scare me. Ren just lifts an eyebrow, not saying anything. Ren simply watched as I didn't back down, getting into Antonio's face too. He made no move to step in or defuse, but he watched us with interest. Look at that eyebrow raise. Yes, I am an ass. I'm an ass because I'm looking out for everything the Ventola family has built. I'm not going to let you waltz in here, write down your little feelings, and have it get lost or stolen, and have everything you've written be exploited. Wars have been fought over less than paper. I'm not giving you a chance to squeal, accidental or otherwise. I told you before, every little comment that you think doesn't matter could be the precipice of change for us. You could get us killed! I mean, like, I guess I get it, but also, can't you just give a girl some paper to scribble on or something? I would at least take that. You don't even have an alternative. You're just like, hell no. And honestly, I'm not with you on this, Antonio. Anyways. As his voice became louder and more harsh, I found myself recoiling back, but I wasn't ready to back down. What about my phone? You literally gave me your numbers. I could have taken videos, photos, voice recordings. My voice caught in my throat as I noticed his eyes darken. He looked extremely pissed off, and it wasn't a pleasant sight. If I thought he looked scary before, he definitely did now. Give me your phone. What? No, I was just... Give me your phone. He stepped a bit closer each time, and I felt like I was being descended upon by wolves. I'll get it either way. If you don't just hand it over, I'll break it. Your choice. I felt my eyes well with tears. Ren is not scrunching up his eyebrow now, so maybe he's feeling for me, feeling some sympathy. Either from frustration, anger, or something else, I don't know. I just know I was fed up with everything right now. I fished my phone out of my pocket and shoved it into his chest. He grabbed it from me without even flinching, his eyes never leaving mine. How do you practice that? Like, do you just always when you were a kid and growing up, we were just like Roman Ventola was just always maintain eye contact? That sounds exhausting. I suppose even you can follow orders. Good night, miss. Ugh, Antonio, I hate you. He shoved my phone into his pocket and turned to leave, and I felt a warm tear roll down my face. Fucking asshole. I hate you. Without pausing or even turning to look over his shoulder, Antonio beckoned Ren to join. Come along, Ren. Despite Ren's neutral expression and lack of any help whatsoever, he glanced back at me a few times before rejoining Antonio. Then they left me there and continued their talk. Now I'm all alone, with nothing and no one. Even Ren didn't care to help me. The second my body hit the bed, all of my emotions I've tried to bury finally started spilling out. Well, it didn't help much. I finally let myself feel the weight of the situation and writhe in my own emotions. What even is the point? This is essentially just prison. Prison with a bunch of assholes. There was a knock on my door after a while. Who could it be? I laid there in my own pity for God knows how long, and I didn't bother answering. And the knocking continues. Who's this persistent? Leave me alone! The door then opened, despite my protest. I shot up in bed. I said... Standing in my doorway was Renzo, with a mischievous smirk and a finger up to his lips in a gesture. He had one hand behind his back and closed the door behind him. Hush, it's just me. I wiped my face and tried not to sniffle as I eyed him hesitantly, feeling more embarrassed than anything that I had been caught in such a pathetic state. Pathetic is all I feel lately. What do you want? Ouch. Be nice, or I won't give you a present. He cooed teasingly at me, which earned him a glare. That is until he pulled a notebook and a case of pencils and pens out from behind his back, holding them out for me to see. Ta-da! Oh, Ren, that's sweet. What? But I thought Antonio said... Fuck what Antonio said. I feel that, Ren. My eyes glimmered with hope of a new ally as he passed me the items. I ran my hands across them as if they were the most valuable things that anyone had ever given me. Thank you. So much. But is this okay? I don't want you to get in trouble for me. I thought back to what Luca had told me earlier about rankings and etiquette, and I didn't want someone showing me genuine kindness to get into issues on my behalf. Ren simply shrugged and shoved his hands into his pockets. I get bored easily, too. Plus, he pissed me off today, so this is my way to get back at him. I fought back a laugh at his petulant expression. Renzo finally cracked a smile himself. Just make sure to hide them. If you thought he was psycho before, he would definitely be psycho if he knew. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone, and I'll make sure to keep it hidden. He gave me a smirk, satisfied with my answer. Good. It'll be our secret, then. Ren had then turned back to the door, moving to leave, but hesitated for a moment. By the way, try not to take it personally. I think he's an ass too, and while I don't condone his bullshit, I do understand it at least. Anyways, good night. Without another word, he walked out, closing the door behind him. I couldn't help the smile that crept onto my face as I hugged the notebook to my chest. I have to make sure to write everything down from today. I can't forget what little I've learned about this place. Hell yeah, let's go. And that's very sweet of Ren. And also, I mean, I am mad at Antonio, but I do understand there's a security issue. But he could have been nicer about it. I guess they don't teach the underboss how to be, handle things in an emotionally intelligent way. But, that's fine. I'm assuming their role model, their parental figure was not the parental figure that would do that. So I'm not surprised. Sunlight oh, sorry, I was going into a red voice. Sunlight cascaded through the window into the room, making everything annoyingly bright as it shined into my eyes. Ugh. I buried my face into my pillow. 5 more minutes. Knock knock. I mumbled to go away at the knocking and nuzzled into my pillow, but the knocking only grew more persistent. Who could it even be? I crawled out of bed with a loud yawn and stretch, not bothering to touch my appearance at all. I shuffled over to the door, about to open it, when I stopped myself. Shit, did I remember to hide the journal? I quickly checked to make sure I hid it well last night. I had stayed up much later than I should have, so my memory was still a bit fuzzy. Once I saw that everything was A-okay, I finally opened the door. Hello? I rubbed my eyes and let out another large yawn out. When my vision cleared, I saw none other than Antonio looking everywhere but my eyes. Gross. What does he want? He looks kind of sorry. Can I help you? Good morning, Miss Scarletta. To my surprise, his voice was a bit hesitant and much kinder than it had been yesterday, as well as much nicer than it needed to be in comparison to my grumpy mumbling. I crossed my arms over my chest and I eyed him skeptically, still not really in the mood to deal with him. Silence enveloped us as I offered no response, waiting for him to get on with what he came to do or say. He sighed deeply and looked a bit uneased. Yes, as you should. Oh? This is bare minimum, but he's apologizing. I would like to apologize for my behavior yesterday. It was unbecoming of me to lose my temper with a guest, especially one already distressed such as yourself. I understand it may be difficult to adjust during your stay here, and I confess I've not made things easier with my outburst, as well as taking your phone. I've not come to offer an excuse or explanation, as I'm sure you're not of the mind to hear it, so instead I've brought a peace offering. He reached into his pocket and produced a cell phone, wrapped in a light pink ribbon. I took the offering from his extended hand, my eyes narrowing. Where is my phone? My voice came out a bit icier than intended, causing him to sigh again. I can't let you have it. What I said yesterday about precautions wasn't false. This is a burner phone. All of your needed contacts have been transferred over, such as Mr. Scarletta and the 6 of us. I thought it was too unfair of me to remove it from you entirely, and so I got you one I knew would be safe. He took a deep breath to compose himself after his awkward apology. He seems like he means it, but... Fine. I get it. I accept your apology. In truth, I've not been amazing either. My emotions are all over the place, and I know that's not made anything easier. I extended my hand for him to shake, and he watched me intently. It didn't seem like he knew what to make of me. I'll try and understand your point of view more if you try to understand mine, too. Truce? God, these two. To truce for now. Truce for right now. That's great. He nodded, finally taking my hand in his. Truce. Out of nowhere, I let out another long yawn. Antonio chuckled at my tiredness. Wait, did he actually just laugh? Yeah, he's not a robot. Didn't know he did that. I apologize for disturbing your rest. I'll leave you to it. Good day, Miss Scarletta. He gave me a nod before walking away, and I waved goodbye in return. I passed a mirror on my way back to bed and laughed at myself. I looked like a mess. Well, may as well get ready. I'm up now. Okay, that's great. So Antonio apologized. Super bare minimum, but it's a thought that counts. And I'm sure, that means that their relationship while they're as long as she's in this house and stuff can get better. So that's great. After brushing my hair and donning a somewhat acceptable outfit, I made my way down the stairs. Knowing my absurd lack of options in terms of entertainment or a social companion, I decided not to get my hopes up too high. At least I have a phone again. I could text Luca, I guess. It would give me an excuse to check out the new phone. And I wouldn't have to read any of the messages or listen to the voicemail that Grandpa left. As my feet hit the bottom step, I began to make my way to the kitchen with my new phone in hand. I hadn't had the chance to look it over yet, but right off the bat, it looked a bit devoid of anything fun, much. The phone was text and call only and had no camera or web access. So, in other words, extreme parental control. Well, I don't know what I was expecting anyways. I guess I should be grateful for whatever I can get at this rate, though. Ooh, Leo! I sighed and put the phone away, pushing through the door I thought led into the kitchen, but apparently I had made a wrong turn when I was distracted. There was a man sitting on the couch who I believed is Leonardo, reading the newspaper. I hadn't seen much of him since 2 nights ago. I felt a pang to my heart as I remembered the peaceful days before all of the craziness, back when Grandpa would complain when his daily paper was delivered late. Back when I knew him. Back when I couldn't imagine him as a killer. Are you all right, Senora? I noticed I had been staring. The man's voice brought my focus back, and I gave him an apologetic smile. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stare. I was just lost in thought for a moment. I felt my lips curl into a wry smile as I couldn't stop the word vomit that kept coming out, probably due to lack of talking to anyone, my only friend even unavailable due to work. It's just, I have no idea how any of this turned out this way. Each time I feel like I've made progress getting used to things, I'm reminded that everything had been a lie. The papers rustled as he turned the pages, shifting his gaze from me and back to it momentarily as he nodded. Well, it's just the luck of the draw, unfortunately. In a way, you've won the lottery. You're of high enough rank to warrant protection just by affiliation. So I've been told. Great, I guess I've met another brick wall. Not wanting to miss out on the small bit of social activity, I decided to give up, knowing I wouldn't get answers either way. Sorry if I interrupted you, Leonardo. You didn't. I normally like to read the paper and review investments in the morning. Figured I'd keep it up despite the prolonged business. You sure I'm not disturbing you? Not particularly. Nice. Awkward silence now. Leonardo looked up at me a few times before sighing and setting his papers aside. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Listen, Senora, things are the way they are. We can't change that. What we can do is work towards a better future. Even if you have to fold a few times or change your strategy, it doesn't mean you can't end up a winner. It's all about what you do with the cards you're dealt. I do like this analogy, Leo. I smiled gratefully at his impromptu speech, feeling slightly better. This guy talks in a lot of game analogies. It's sort of endearing. Yeah, I guess you're right. Thanks, Leonardo. Just Leo is fine, Senora. With that, he continued reading his paper and occasionally explained stocks to me whenever I asked. That's nice. It was a little boring, but I was grateful for his time and enjoyed the company. Even listening to investments and stock market jargon was much more exciting than moping in my room. I feel that. After about an hour or so, we heard the front door close and the familiar sound of bickering. I turned my attention to the walkway. Junior, please. I'm so hungry. Sir, you've kept me out all night. I can't possibly stay awake long enough to cook for you. The sound of footsteps trudged closer, and the smell of liquor, cigarettes, and perfume wafted in as they entered. My nose crinkled at the combination. As I rounded the corner and saw Leo and I sitting together, they both looked stunned. Leo, I'm shocked. You're doing something besides work for once. Leo showed Alessio a bored look. Look at that face, so bored, so done with the shenanigans. His papers made a sharp snapping noise as he closed it in one quick, careful motion. If you want to be technical, this is work. Alessio simply nodded and smirked at us, not seeming entirely convinced. I see how it is. Both you and Junior change the second a woman comes around. Good to know you're not a robot, at least. Leo sighed and set his papers aside, getting up to leave. Bye, Leo. I don't blame him. Even Luca looks tired. Alessio shook his head disappointedly as Leo left before turning his attention back to Luca. You see what I deal with? Cold shoulder. Can't take a joke. Mm-hmm. Luca shook his head in understanding, going along with whatever whim Alessio went off on at the time. His gaze, Alessio's, shifted to me for a moment, and his eyes lit up as if he had a grand idea. I know. Junior, how about you cook for me and the Senora, I'm sure she's as hungry as I am, and you wouldn't want her to go hungry, would you? Luca looked distraught as he looked between the two of us, wanting to deny Alessio, but also not wanting to slight me. Poor Luca. He needs a break. What if I cook? The words left my mouth before I even had a second to think about them, wanting to help my friend. This is also something to do to pass the time. The both of them seemed surprised at my suggestion. No, I couldn't ask you to. Gorgeous. You don't have to. Junior here is perfectly capable. You don't want to eat my cooking, Alessio? I feigned a pout at him, really playing it up. What? You don't want to eat my cooking? I just wanted to do something nice for you both, since you've been out working all night. If drinking could be considered work. Alessio looked a bit troubled at my accusation and looked at Luca for some help. Luca shrugged back at him, a slight frown on his face. Well, are you sure? Of course. I'm a great cook. I watched as he slipped back into his cool, flirtatious demeanor. All right, then. What kind of man would I be if I said no to a pretty lady? June, make sure you help her out, yeah? Alessio gave me a wolfish smile as he moved past us, heading into the kitchen. I winked at Luca as he trailed behind Alessio. He returned a grateful grin. Luca and I rolled up our sleeves and made ourselves comfortable in the kitchen, setting out some ingredients on the counter as Alessio excused himself to take a phone call. "So, what are we cooking today, Miss Danielle?" I gave him the side eye as I brought out some eggs and bacon from the fridge, causing him to laugh as he noticed his mistake. "Sorry, Danielle. It's hard to break the habit." "Much better. And I was thinking something simple. Probably some pancakes, eggs, and bacon. What do you think?" "I guess this fridge is all stocked up. I love that." "Sounds good to me. What would you like me to do?" "I don't really feel like getting dirty. Would you mind handling the pancakes?" "Sure thing." I turned on the heat and began cracking the eggs in one pan and placing the strips of bacon in the other. Not long after, the lovely smell of breakfast and the familiar sizzling filled the kitchen. Smells great already. We both became absorbed in our tasks, with him carefully adding in the right amount of ingredients into the bowl. Before he began stirring the mixture, he took off his suit jacket. "Hey, Luca, do you know where—" I turned to ask where I could find some plates, and couldn't help but laugh as I noticed the mix he somehow managed to get on his face. "Huh? Why are you laughing?" "Your face." He reached up and felt the mix on his cheek, and he burst into laughter with me. "Ugh, I tried so hard to be careful. Here, sit still." He's blushing. I walked over and leaned close as I took my thumb to brush away the pancake mix from his face, needing to rub it a bit harder than usual as it didn't want to come off. "There, all clean." Our gazes met, and I noticed his eyes were wide and his cheeks were red. Why is he... It was that moment I noticed I had leaned in much too close for comfort and jumped back slightly. "Oh, sorry. I wasn't thinking." "No, it's fine." He laughed a bit awkwardly, and my own cheeks went red as I quickly shuffled away. More blushing is happening. "Anyways, where are the plates?" Top left cabinet." I mumbled a thank you and went to grab the plates. Both of us continued cooking while exchanging a few pleasantries. "So, how are you finding things so far? Any better than yesterday?" I scowled a bit as I plated the first set of eggs and bacon. "That bad, huh?" Antonio and I got into a little fight. We made up, but I don't know. This place feels more like a prison than anything else. I'm sorry to hear that. I would spend some time with you today, but I know, you've got Alessio to deal with and you haven't slept yet. Don't worry, I understand. I'll try and bring it up to him later. Maybe we can work something out. I don't know about that, but thank you anyway. "Oh, it smells great in here." Alessio finally came back, making his presence known with a dramatic display as per usual. He rubbed his hands together excitedly as he came over and noticed we were almost finished. "Almost time to eat, I see." "Yeah, go have a seat. It'll be ready in no time." Ooh, dining. Luca and I finished setting the table so we can all sit together and eat. He and Alessio sat on the same side across from me. We all began to dig in, and Alessio moaned at the taste. "Ugh, this tastes amazing. I didn't know you could cook like this." "I actually prefer to bake than to cook." I felt a bit bashful at being so brazenly complimented, but that only seemed to make him continue. "Beautiful, and a good cook. A woman after my own heart. June, she's giving you a run for your money. I didn't know someone could cook better than you." Lol. He shoved another bite into his mouth as Luca gave a good-natured eye roll. I also want pancakes now that they've made pancakes. "By the way, were you guys out all night?" Yeah. Why do you ask?" "I was just curious. Were you just drinking or something?" "Oh." His eyes adopted a familiar mischievous twinkle as he smirked at me. "You should know that a gentleman never tells." Wink, 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 wink. Multiple winks in a row, if that's possible. I sighed and rolled my eyes, beginning to push my food around with a fork. He spoke up again, this time with a much more humorous tone. "A bit early to be getting jealous, isn't it?" Oh my god, I've lost the voice. Pardon me. This is just what happens when I have to do all these more masculine sounding voices and I try to like change them up a bit. A bit early to be getting jealous, isn't it, doll? No, it's not that. It's just I don't really have anything to talk about on my own. I was hoping maybe you'd at least tell me some stories if I can't come. Alessio observed me for a few moments deep in thought, his face now serious, a rare sight. He finally nodded slightly and clapped his hands together. All right, I get it. You're breaking my heart, and with those sad eyes, too. So I'll give in. There's nothing I can tell you about last night, though. Honest. It's nothing for a lady to hear, anyways. I'll mention it to Antonio today. See if we can get you out and about every now and again. I'll make no promises, though. He can be a tough man, but he's trying to do what's best for everyone, understand? I couldn't help but smile at him and nod excitedly. Thank you, Alessio. I already know I can't be involved in anything dangerous, which I don't want to be, but even being able to go to the store or something with someone would be more than enough. I'll do what I can, darling. He smiled at me and continued eating, scarfing down food with gusto. Luca was just like quiet that entire time. An unfamiliar sound rang out as we were all close to finishing our meal. After a few seconds, I realized it was my new phone. There was no caller ID, and it was a private number, but my curiosity got the better of me. Hello? Oh, Danielle, thank God you're okay. I immediately felt my appetite diminish and become replaced with nausea and unease. Yeah. Young lady, why have you not answered me? I've been worried sick. Oh, really? You wouldn't think so, given the fact I grew up with a target painted on my back and no warning at all. Kiddo, don't be like that. No, don't start because I don't want to hear it. When Mom and Dad died, you didn't have the decency to tell me the truth then. Oh no, God forbid. You just let me continue living in ignorance without a shred of concern for my wishes or what would be best for me. Danielle, I may have not told you the whole truth, sure, but I have never risked your life. Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree. At some point, Alessio must have gotten up and walked behind me because I suddenly felt his hand pat my shoulder. I gave him a look of appreciation for his act of solidarity and got the courage to finish the call. Look, Grandpa, I need some time to process things. You have no idea what I've been feeling or going through, and I doubt you'd even be able to. I'm sure someone will tell you how I am regardless, Mr. Conciliere. I heard him sniffle on the other end of the phone, but he didn't say much else. As much as I may not like you right now, I hope you will stay safe. Anyways, I have to go. I'll talk to you when I feel up to it. Goodbye, kiddo. I love you. I bit my bottom lip as hard as I could to stop myself from giving in. This wasn't something to be taken lightly. It was a big secret, and one that could have cost me my life. The call ended without me saying another word, and Alessio patted my shoulder encouragingly. Fight in with the old man, eh? Chin up, doll. You're prettier when you smile. I'm sure things will be back to normal before you know it. I hope so. We're working as hard as we can to get you sorted. I know it might be tough to believe since you don't see it firsthand, but trust it's getting done. I kind of want to give him like a southern accent for no reason. Maybe it's all this dropping of the INGs here. I don't know how to do a New York-ish accent, so that's, a little lost to me. But we're just gonna go for dramatic and Alessio I don't know. He nodded, looking up at I nodded, looking up at him with a smile as he removed his hand from my shoulder. Well, Junior, how about you and I clean up? I'm sure Miss Danielle would appreciate some time to relax after cooking. Sure thing. I quickly stood up and began gathering plates, shooing them away with my hand. No, I insist. You two have been up all night. But we couldn't possibly ask you to do that after you cooked for us. You cook too. Listen, I'll be fine, I promise. You two, on the other hand, haven't slept all night. I gave them both a smile and shooed them out of the room, and they shouted their thanks even as they were finally forced out into the hall. Now, finally, poor Luca might be able to get some sleep. Let's hope so. I gathered up all the plates and placed them into the sink with the rest of the dirty pans and bowls we had used earlier. I began to wash each until it was pristine and then setting it on the drying rack. I feel kind of bad for how I ended things with Grandpa, though. Was that really the right decision? The last time I ended things that way. I shook the thoughts from my head, feeling a slight headache coming on from the roller coaster of emotions I've been feeling lately. I'd love one normal day. Not the crash. I jumped slightly, startled from the loud noise, and worried I had dropped a plate when I zoned out. What was that? If it wasn't me, then where did that noise come from? I heard some more rustling down the hall, as if there was a scrap of some kind happening, and I felt goosebumps rise on my arms. I crept down the hall to find the source of the noise, looking for any of the boys for help as I did. My heart dropped as I heard the muffled sounds of one or more of the boys fighting someone in the living room. I peeked into the room to assess the situation for when I needed to get help, but when I got there... I love this. Come back here, you little shit! Oh, feisty today, are we? Don't hold back. They're chasing each other. Maybe this time you won't fuck up. Renzo is being chased by Angelo. It seems they've gotten into a fight of some kind. I placed a hand over my heart as I relaxed a bit, seeing it wasn't anything as dangerous as I thought. Ugh, you bastard! Renzo seemed to be having the time of his life, but Angelo seemed legitimately mad. Maybe Ren's teasing got to him, probably. Each time Angelo turned a corner around the couch, Ren was just a second quicker, always managing to stay out of his grasp. I heard pleas from across the room, muffled by the sheer noise of the boys screaming. Senors, please, can we just stop? You're going to upset Antonio. Ignored. Poor Luca, he never seems to catch a break. He seemed to be the only one with a normal mindset, as he's the only one begging them to tone it down, while I saw Alessio snicker to Leo from across the room. I don't know why you're laughing. It's obvious if this goes on any longer, Ren will be the winner. Yes, but Angelo's got Spitfire in him when you mention his honor. I bet he'll just keep going until Ren runs out of breath and then get him good. I can assure you this all won't last much longer. That I can bet on. Alessio only seemed to take that as a challenge as his eyes widened in surprise before morphing into a confident smile. Oh yeah? Tell you what, if I lose, I'll get both you and Junior over their dates with some of the finest and easiest women you've ever met. Why would you say it that way, Alessio? I'll have to pass. Sleaze. Sleaze. Alessio, that is very sleazy of you to say, to be honest. Alessio ignored his insult and went back to happily watching the two boys chase each other. Antonio was just there. From across the room on the sofa, I saw Antonio silently reading a book. How do you concentrate, sir? He was just tuning out everything going on. I'll have to ask him later how he does it. Probably years and years of experience. Funny to think how mere minutes ago I was hoping for people to be around more. And now I have a room full of people, except it's just chaos. I made my way around the horde of boys and trouble and sat next to Antonio. Doesn't this noise bother you? Not particularly. I've gotten used to it over the years. Oh, is it always like this? More often than I'd like to admit. Antonio pinched the bridge of his nose and shook his head slightly as he looked at the rest of them. The only time they settle and focus is when there's work to be done. Oh, I see. Why? Does it bother you? Well, no. I'm just worried they'll get hurt if this goes on for any longer. Luca seems to be the only one trying to stop them. He paused for a moment and gently closed his book. Very well. I will remedy this. Show us your powers, Sir Antonio. How is he gonna stop them? He's I love that he just does that because she's like, I'm worried a little bit. And then he's like, okay, I'll take care of this. He takes a deep breath and then, both of you, cut your shit now. I don't even think he probably had to raise his tone that much, you know? Immediately, the room went silent. That is all. With that, he sat back down to read his book. It left all of us to exchange hurried looks and rush out the door. But as we all left and the doors closed, we couldn't hold back our laughter. We all poked fun at the situation for a while until we all had to go our separate ways for the evening. But it was the most fun I've had since coming here. Maybe these guys aren't so bad after all. I mean, it just happens to be a day where they're not working. That's funny. The rest of the day had come and gone, and it was without a doubt the best day here so far. I'm not sure if they were told to or what had possessed them to want to, but the boys were around basically all evening, allowing us all to have some fun and talk with one another. As I'd gone to bed that night, all I could think about and hope for was another day like today. A day of peace, of relative normalcy, of fun. A day less like a prison sentence. Ugh. Though for some reason I found my throat unbearably dry in the middle of the night. Despite how many times I've tossed and turned, I couldn't go back to sleep. What time is it anyways? I yawned and slid out of bed, rubbing my still groggy and bleary eyes as I checked my phone. 2 a.m., huh? Ooh, what a fun hour. I'll just have to be quiet. I think it's fine. I mean, obviously you're not going to make so much noise, but you can go get water. It'll be fine. I began to creep out of my room, closing my door carefully and as silently as possible, tiptoeing past all the rooms and gently descending the staircase. Eventually finding my way into the kitchen, I grabbed a glass and filled it with water, downing 2 glasses before feeling satisfied. Much better. I covered my mouth with my hand as I yawned again, the urge to crawl back into my nice soft bed overcoming me. Creeping back down the hall, I began to hear the faint noise of someone arguing. I glanced towards where the noise is coming from, and then towards the stairs, and engaged in a mental battle with my own curiosity and sleepiness. After a few moments, my curiosity won, and I continued my silent shamble towards the noise, getting as close as I could to make out as many words as possible. Finally, standing outside the door, I peered in carefully with my ear against the wall. All of the boys? Why aren't they asleep? Okay. Cool. We're all in this office, and we are looking so serious right now. Do you know how important this meeting is? How many strings we had to pull? I understand what you're saying, boss, but it's not the best idea for her to be left alone, no matter how safe she is. I agree, sir. If you want her to cooperate for her own safety, we need to ensure she's happy enough here. No one is doubting that, but from the family's perspective... Oh, and you care about the family's perspective. Actually, I do, you little... Hey! Knock it the fuck off. If you want to be children, I'll treat you like children. But for now, how about you show some fucking decorum and help me reach a solution instead of adding to my ever-growing list of problems? The 2 men fell silent, hanging their heads in shame, yet their expressions still holding theory towards one another. We wouldn't all need to go, would we, sir? I suppose not, but the more the better. The Montianos never play fair, but they might have some information for us. For her sake, and for the sake of finding out who dares to fuck with the family, we need to take the risk in hopes of some information. Then, how about one of us stays with her? What? What? Like a bodyguard? Does she even really need a bodyguard? It would have to be someone we could make do without. It would have to be someone we make do without. If things get nasty, we can't let them catch us slipping. I felt myself stiffen at their words, feeling the tension rising and the severity of it all dawning on me. They'd not been around because they'd been working hard to help me, just like Alessio had said. I was too focused on my own feelings to consider maybe they were actually trying to help. I mean, I feel like sometimes Danielle slightly tries to gaslight herself into thinking that, she's not valid, like her feelings are valid, but I think her feelings are very valid, just like an FYI here. Like, yeah, it's not your fault that you didn't know, because they didn't tell you anything. And yes, could they really have told you anything? No, but they also have to kind of take that into consideration for when you express your feelings and feel certain frustrations about the situation, because you literally know nothing. I feel like sometimes, especially in the beginning here, it's like Danielle's like, well, I guess I shouldn't have been like so like sensitive about it, but I'm like, I think you have the right to be honest. But it's good that she tries to see their perspective. It's just kind of funny thinking about how like literally she knows nothing, so of course she's working from like basically minimal, if no information at all, or no information to minimal information at all. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm such an idiot. I swallowed a lump that began to form my throat as I thought about my next course of action. I would be risking an even tighter leash if I stuck my neck out here and tried to join the conversation, but I can't just stand by and have them put themselves at risk on my behalf. They've all been good to me for the most part, and I'd be willing to risk losing more privileges if it means less secrecy and being able to help them, even just a bit. Look at them all sitting. Antonio's over there being like, blah, 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 with his hands out. Ren has a little smirk, and Angelo with his little hand behind his head. Luca's just leaning on the bookcase, looking cool. And then these two are on the couch, Leo and Alessio. Alessio with his like little shirt with a V on there. Little button down, not button. Oh, I love them. Okay. Anyways, that was just my little side commentary about them right now. Okay. Having made my mind up, I slowly entered the room and made my presence known. If it's about me, I should be involved. All the attention suddenly fell on me, and I could hear my name being murmured in surprise by a few of them. No, absolutely not. There's no need for you to be involved, miss. We're sorry if we woke you. Please, head to bed. Antonio, I'm sorry, but no. My whole life, I've had things kept from me. Things that wound up with me needing to be here. I understand I've been solely focused on my own feelings up until now, without even considering all of everyone's work and sacrifices. I won't let you all sit here and worry about me anymore. Just let me know what I need to do to make your jobs easier. I refuse to make anything more complicated than it needs to be if it's as dangerous as you say. Please, if my cooperation is all I can offer, let me help. Antonio and I were locked in a silent battle, neither backing down and neither looking away. If he was looking for any trace of hesitation in me, he wouldn't find it. All I cared was about making sure everyone could walk out of this okay. Eventually, amidst the silence, he finally gave me a solemn nod and turned his attention back to the others. Hell yes, for the win, girl. Fine. Miss Scarletta is welcome to stay, for now. Circling back to our last point, a bodyguard might be the best bet. But now, since we have her word she will cooperate with us, we might be able to make a more educated decision. He turned to me once more, yet this time his gaze was almost softer. Forgive me for needing to bring this up, but I must ask. Do you have any idea who attacked you, or why? No. It was at a cafe on the opposite end of town. The room went silent as they all exchanged serious looks with one another. No one dared to smile. It's probably as we expected then. Our territory borders a rival family's territory, the Montianos, led by Edgar Montiano. We've had some issues with them recently, and it seems they dragged a civilian into it. You. They all nodded in agreement, looking irritated at the mere mention of the other family. Miss, I will admit when you first came here I was hesitant to share everything with you, especially after seeing you struggle to deal with your emotions. Once again, Antonia, I swear, sometimes I'm just like, honestly, it's very valid, I think, the situation that Danielle is in. She learns that her family was part of the mafia, or at least her grandfather was. We don't know about her parents officially. And things got turned upside down real quick. Again, very much valid in feeling her feelings, you know? Anyways, but my word is bond. So if you swear to me you'll cooperate with us and do as we say within reason, I'm willing to start from the beginning and tell you all I can. I met his eyes with a determined gaze and held out my right hand for him to shake. He gripped my hand firmly, his eyes never leaving mine. I swear it. If it will help to avoid losing lives, I'll do whatever you ask. For a split For a split second, I noticed a smile. Look at that smile on him. But he quickly covered it up and let go of my hand. Okay. When you were attacked, the conciliere, your grandfather, made a few calls, which is why you're here now. That is also why all of us are here. Being the sons of important men, we can take care of ourselves. You, however, are not accustomed to the life, though we've already discussed as much. So the boss said to keep you here until we can get this all sorted out, and we are all going to be here until then as well. To be honest with you, we don't know how long it will take to sort things out, so we might all be in each other's company for a while. So I'm going to be living with these 6 dangerous men for an unknown amount of time. At least they're all not bad. They're not all bad. It could be a lot worse, I suppose. Antonio cleared his throat once more to recapture my attention. As I was saying, over the past 2 days, we've all been practically acting as your bodyguards. As long as you're with us, you're safe. Though, no matter how safe a location, there is always an underlying risk factor. We were hoping to work out a schedule of watching over you, but this meeting has made it glaringly obvious we can't function in the ways we have. Not only are you unhappy, but the method itself is flawed. Generally speaking, Leonardo was right in suggesting you have a bodyguard. It would allow us all more flexibility to work, while ensuring you have someone tending to you 24/7 and keeping you out of trouble. In other words, a designated point of contact in charge of your well-being. Someone who can always be there even when the rest of us can't, to ensure there isn't even the slightest opportunity for failure. I nodded along as I followed what he was saying, feeling a bit anxious. I feel bad about troubling these guys, but I admit it does make me feel safer. Now, all that's left is assigning someone to said task. He looked around the room, searching for volunteers. To my surprise, they all chipped in a bit. Why don't we have Junior do it? He's not nearly as important in our daily ops. Watch it, Ren. Junior is with me. Don't go assigning him around. I doubt a regular soldato would be up to the task. Then why don't you do it? I don't mind, but I believe that I could do it. Yeah, as if that's a good idea after what happened last time. Oh yeah? I don't see you ever offering yourself up to do anything that actually involves work, Ren. No wonder your brother. Hey, cut it out, you numbnuts. We've got more pressing issues on hand, and I don't feel like listening to your catfight. Tensions and voices only rose more as they continued their futile argument, to the point it was giving me a headache, and I was sure everyone else too. Luca, who had been silently watching the whole time with his arms crossed in front of him, leaned in to whisper to Alessio, who responded with a nod. Junior had a good idea, so listen up. There's no point sitting here and arguing in front of a pretty lady. All it does is make us look bad. Leonardo nodded and cut him off with his almost monotone cadence. Let her choose. She would probably be more comfortable that way. Is that something she should even choose on her own? Does she even know us that well? I know I've been mostly unavailable due to work, but probably a good thing. Their voice all began to mix together again, some fighting and some trying to stop the fighting, before Antonio finally got fed up and raised his voice again, and my own voice is getting tired because I have to raise my voice as like Antonio. Enough! I'm sick of this. And I'm not going to stay up all night just so you children can argue. Once it was silent, he turned to me, his voice much more level than it was a moment ago. Miss, I believe you've interacted with all of us at least a tiny bit. So, please pick who you feel is best or most competent. Please don't worry about us. Just choose someone you feel most comfortable or safe with, so we can ensure your cooperation. I let his words ring in my ears as I looked across each and every one of them in the room, and they all kept their attention on me in turn. I couldn't make out all of their expressions, but what I could see in each of their eyes was burning curiosity. Yes, I can see it. I'm looking at all of you. Oh my gosh, okay. Each man wondering who would be chosen, for better or for worse. Well, Antonio seems fierce and able. An underboss would definitely be able to protect me. Despite our little tiffs, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders and generally wants to look out for mine and his men's safety. I just have to hope we don't butt heads. Renzo's apparently a bit of a trickster, but he seems capable. He's also probably easy to get along with, if he's willing to break the rules to make my life a bit easier. Though I wonder if that would ever go too far. Leonardo is calm and calculating, but seems to have a nice side somewhere. I don't think I'd get into much trouble around him. While I didn't get to spend as much time with him as the others, he's always been respectful. Even in this meeting, he seemed to be looking out for my best interest. He's a bit hard to read at times, though, so I wonder if that will work out. Alessio is a bit of a flirt, never taking things too seriously, but is nice enough if you can tolerate him, I suppose. While beyond brazen and a bit immature at times, he does seem to have a good side. Is that enough to put up with his impulsive whims, though? Will I end up like Luca? Luca is a really friendly guy. He acts the most normal and kind out of all of them, and he reminds me of life before everything happened. He's also the only one I'm close enough with to consider a friend. I think I can trust him, but I wonder if he would even have time, let alone be allowed, to be my bodyguard, since he seems to be stuck following Alessio wherever he goes. Angelo is a guy who seems to be at the butt of all jokes. He seems nice despite having a temper with the boys, and would probably be good company. He's the only one I know the least about, as he makes himself scarce. What I do know, though, is I might be able to learn a thing or two by sticking around him, if I'm willing to risk his unknown chance factor. I might finally learn about what the boys hang over his head, or more. I took a deep breath, carefully, as I looked over each of them one last time. Antonio, Renzo, Leonardo, Alessio, Luca, and Angelo. I made my decision. We're choosing. Da-da-da-da. We're gonna leave the choosing for next time. Let's keep you all in suspense. I will say I'm so excited. We only have 2 available routes out of 6, and I won't spoil who they are just yet because I want you to let me know in the comments who you would pick first, just out of the information you know now, or if you played the game or the demo before. I'm very, very curious. I definitely know who my picks would be, but I also don't want to bias people. I also don't know if people can tell who might be more at the top of my list than others, especially at this point, because it's kind of like, you know, we don't know too much information about any of these men, but they are interesting, to say the least. Anyways, if you like the video, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more of Daughter of a Scoundrel, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and press the bell for more notifications of when I post. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Daughter of a Scoundrel was really near and dear to my heart, so again, I'm glad that I've been able to play, and I hope you are also enjoying it. But anyways, I will see you all next time. Bye!